How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, May 17th, 2024, and this is the video for today. Let's go over the picks I gave in the prior video. The first was Costco. So with Costco, I said, hey, I love this price action early in the day. It's a really strong stock. Let's see if we can get it on an LRSI cross on a pullback. Let me just readjust my lines here so we can see some volume, some price action. We don't need to see the ATR necessarily. So we got this little dip here at 1125. So this was the first trigger of the cross. Now, here's a good test, right? Would you have taken it at this point? Well, let's see what the market was doing at 1125. Okay, so the market pulled back here. Cost also pulled back pretty hard. It kind of lost a lot of footing here. So, okay, well, maybe let's see what happens on this bull cycle if we hold this red candle. Okay, now we got a bit of a double top forming over here. We're compressing. What's cost doing right now? Hey, it's kind of losing its relative strength here. Market's kind of being flat. Cost making a new low at 1150, 1110. Market is actually making a slightly higher low. So cost is kind of losing its luster. So we get another cross over here. We don't want to buy this one because now we have this downward sloping trend line on the stock. Has to be preserved. And we look at what the market does again at 1210, 1205. Market's now coming in a little bit here, falling back low. So market's not quite setting up well. We have this bearish cycle producing. So let's see what this bearish cycle brings. We do finally get a little bit of liftoff over here, and cost is looking pretty good. So would you take cost at 1255? We broke this trend line. The market's come down, and the short answer is not really, because this stock has really kind of had a couple of lower highs and lower lows during this market pullback down. It's had a pretty long pullback, and it hasn't exactly been relatively strong or relatively weak to the market. It's been pretty flat, so we don't quite have our edge in this stock. If we're wrong about the market here, then we're going to be wrong about Costco, and that's pretty much what happened. We got this long red candle here at 120 that flushes out all of these bullish speculators over here, and Costco never recovers after that. It retraces all the gains later in the day. So I mean, luckily, even if the good thing is, if you did end up taking this LRSI across here, Costco breaks down. Still don't panic at this red candle, but it can't get above in these next 1 or 2 bars. Okay, you take a tiny loss here versus taking a loss from the high of the day and exiting somewhere at VWAP. So you can get out for a tiny loss with a great entry, but I think this is a situation where you want to be a little bit more careful. We've establishing some support over here, but Costco is not the right stock to withstand this type of market move down. I'll give another example, maybe a stock like Marvel yesterday. I know I didn't call it out for a trade, but you can see here's Marvel at the 120 candle, and then strong reaction here. Market is tanking, Marvel's preserving the gains. Lots of relative strength, and it looks like, look how much longer it held before it actually came down to the market. So that is far more relative strength that we want to see in a stock versus something like Costco, which is a little bit more flat. It really kind of lost its luster there at the day. So Costco, it should have been a no trade, and the clue was lack of relative strength on the pullback. Okay, looks like we might get something going here. The other pick I gave was BMRN short, and I liked that trade. I said, look, if the market ends up being bearish, I like this pick if it can get through the compression. So we got our break here at 120. Would you look at that? So 120, we get this break to new low of the day. This is where you can enter BMRN, and we know that this has a strong trend. Couldn't get anything going, couldn't get off the deck for the last couple hours. Now that trend is resuming, we expect a pretty quick move on these compression breakouts. So you enter. Whoops. So how I played BMRN was I entered at this 120 bar, compressed for a little bit. This is fine. A couple of 2, 3, 4 candles is okay. Got this next leg lower at 140. And on this next leg lower, I added a little bit to the position, and then the stock didn't really do too much for the next half an hour while the market was trying to make a move lower, didn't really participate. So I took a small win on the ad, but a nice win on the position from 77.02 all the way to 77.76. So that was a nice win in BMRN. And I said that there's a lot of later day setups that could happen on a day like this where volume is pretty low, the price action is a little bit chunky. This is decent, but now you're seeing a lot of choppy back and forth mixed candles, a lot of tails and wicks. You want to really wait for your opportunities. You don't want to be pressing your luck too much. So when this trend started to wane, I got out of the trade for a pretty nice win. BMRN continued a little bit today. Looks like it's hovering around this level. There is a major D1 support level. So I was also pretty cautious of that. We were between those two D1 support levels. If we look on the chart, I'm going to zoom out to the D1. You'll see these two lines, so that we had a decent bit of room for a day trade on that stock. All right, so I'm going to mark these accordingly. So Costco was a no trade. BMR short day trade was a decent win. Let's go look at our open positions today. So first one, Tesla, take the loss on Tesla, finally happened. We had this big channel here. When it broke through this channel here, took the loss the position, and that's it. Sometimes that happens with Tesla, like I mentioned in the prior video. Still a pretty weak stock, but one, we didn't confirm that SMA break, and then two, we got the market wrong. We got the market wrong on the 10th. We traded against the market, and the PDS went against us. So that was a mistake on Tesla. The other position we are in is GE. Still looking okay, but popped up here, testing this level of support. Really looks like it's selling off a little bit here. We're back at the support level, so this has to hold. If it doesn't hold, then we're going to be out of the position today. But 160 has been some support, so I expect that to hold on this retest. The more it holds, the more confidence I gain in the stock. If we get a close here, or even a close below this low from May 14th, then we are going to be out of the trade. So keeping an eye on GE. That is our only open position so far. Let's take a look at what the market has been doing on the daily chart. So long-term fundamentals still, all systems are go. Nothing has really changed too much. We're waiting to see kind of how the economy is looking. Next round of economic numbers. Take a look at the unemployment report. Take a look at ISM services. I think in a video I recommended the JPM market articles that they usually release every Thursday. So would definitely recommend checking those out. I think they have some excellent analysis fundamentally on what's going on. And again, from my opinion, I think that the fundamental analysis is what asset managers use. So when you have this macro context, it helps us contextualize and understand what moves could happen on a price action basis, and kind of helps set the frame. Long-term technical, I am a 1. I have the potential to become a 2 bullish here. I like this breakout, but I want to see this breakout hold. So I'm okay with the retest. I'm okay even if we test halfway of this candle and then we launch off, or even compress around here. That would be even better. But I want to see some sort of selling pressure. I want to gauge how it is. And if it's pretty weak and we get a next leg higher, then my long-term technical is going to be a 2 bullish. Now, if we kind of pitter-patter around, right, we're kind of like over here in this price action at the end of March. where we get this breakout, but we kind of fail back down and we fill in the gap, and then we try to get up higher, and then we come back down again. It's like, okay, now I'm still going to remain, one bullish because we haven't really done anything or added to the breakout. It just tells us that there's some short covering. Shorter term technical, also a 1, and you can see that we're just very cautiously bullish at this point on many different time frames, and that does gauge what sort of strategies that we use. We had a nice move here, and here's our first ad, here's our second ad, both of these which I missed, so I really gotta get better at getting these longer term swings here. But we had these they had this move up here. It was okay. I think this was weak. Again, this was a little stronger. And we finally got this breakout. I like how we made a new all-time high. We didn't make a double top, so that is a very positive sign for me. I want to see us hold this breakout. I think we're a little bit closer to the end of the move than the beginning of the move. Tech has been a little bit soft these past 2 days. Some money going into the flight to safety assets. Mega cap tech was a little weak today, a little bit more neutral today. Or Mag 7, I should say. Same sort of difference. So that's what we're seeing a little bit more on a shorter term time frame. I always like to zoom in a little bit to the M30 first. So you can see we have a compression, breakout, and now we're pulling back and we're testing this move higher. We're seeing if we can hold the gains of this move. And it looks like we're finding some support right here around this 128.40 level. Intraday chart. What's going on today? So let's start with what happened yesterday or even the day before. CPI came out, gap and go bullish day, big move that day. We then, yesterday we got a flat open. We came up higher. We didn't expect a huge day because we already had a pretty big move on the 15th. We ended up having a pretty weak bearish reversal. The clue was 2 things. So one, we had this bullish cycle and well, the bullish cycle did produce, which is fine. That wasn't the clue that was bear. The first warning sign is that we got this double top and we got this full bearish cycle to happen. So this entire bearish cycle happens, and we get the bullish cross here. So this bearish cycle really does end up producing, making new low of the day, and some decent volume, but pretty chunky price action. Don't go anywhere too much. We get a bounce up higher, and then we make a new low of the day. And we close, the market closed near its low, so we form a bearish hammer on the D1. We have this wide bearish channel on the intraday chart, and that's kind of what is framing my trades right now. Bears have very weak control in the short term, I guess the M5 or maybe the M15 if you want to use the M15 chart here. Let's see if it loads. But bears have a little bit of control, so I'm not looking to take any sort of major longs right now until we can actually break out of this channel. Conversely, I don't get too gung-ho about shorts until we get any sort of movement on either side, because we know that there is still long-term buyers that are controlling the trend, so really have to pick and choose our spots for getting in on shorts. So today we had a flat open, compressed, low volume, choppy candles. We try to make a move to the high of the day, fails, gets rejected. We try to test the downside here, and we have this bearish cycle still coming into play. If we hold this level and we get a nice bullish cycle, we could have a nice opportunity for a day trade long to set up. So here's the M15 chart. You can see the pullback a little bit clearly. It looks like it's compared to this move here, it's a lot weaker, a lot more tenuous. So I'm still favoring the long side in terms of kind of a shorter term time frame. We're waiting to see if support comes in, where that support's going to be, but just waiting and choosing your spots. If you're unsure what to do, this is a good day to not trade, in my opinion. If you're like me and you're really trying to fine tune your day trading, really trying to get it to the next level, I think there's an opportunity on the long side, potentially setting up if we hold this low of the day. Right now, it looked like that may not happen. If we break through the low of the day, accelerate, it's likely to be a long red candle and then we come back in. So there might be just some pops happening today. I would favor the bearish trend, and really got to be cautious on the longs. I think you find a relatively a very, very strong stock. You enter perfectly and you set a passive target. That's one way you can take advantage of longs in this channel. But if you're looking to get a little bit better on day trades, but want to still kind of, you know, not get too cute, I'll say, then you want to favor the short side. Wait for these bounces to fail, time it with the 1OP cross, and then get in on your shorts. So I'm going to give a short pick and a long pick just like last time. One short pick I like quite a bit here is X. So I actually took a nice win on it this morning. Took a small win and it ended up producing more because we didn't have a market timing here. The stock pulled back to its 8 EMA, lots of heavy volume, breaking down its low. And the best thing here, let's first look at the D1. I have a very, very weak stock, and it's breaking through this quite a bit of support and resistance over here. So there is certainly some major D1 resistance in play that it's cracking down. So we've got a lot of ATR. It's already made a pretty big move today, and I don't think you want to get caught chasing this guy at the low of the day. Probably what I would do is wait for some of these pullbacks, get in on an HA reversal, or even an LRSI cross. The trend might be too strong for an LRSI cross, but at least create a bearish HA reversal. That could be a pretty nice setup. We'll take a look at a couple more, see if anything catches our fancy. So Hood is also, Hood's actually a beautiful setup right now. Hood, nice breakout over here through this high. Has a little bit of room to this high at, let's see, 2055. So Hood is a beautiful setup, actually, even right now, to be honest, compressing throughout this time. As soon as the market gives any sign of life, it's popping up higher. So yeah, that could be my pick. It could be my pick. IFF is a nice long on the D1, but we're going to wait on holding on longs here. SE came down. This is a nice LRSI entry. Looks like the move already sort of happened. So this is where you'd want to get in on the move. The market is still pulling back a little bit. I've been finding a lot more nicer longs than I've been finding shorts. Yeah, VLO kind of compressing here. JD giving up its gains. Looks like Fuchu giving up its gains. Baba is probably very similar. Shiny stocks were very strong today and looks like they've come in. So don't want to chase these moves here. That can happen. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hood long, and on this compression break, I would probably take it right here, Hood long, and then I would take X short on an HA reversal. If it has it pull back to the 8 EMA, even probably test this low, and then I would get in on X as a nice win. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Those are the 2-day trades. We're still in GE long. In terms of swings and swing traders, I would wait till we find some support and we're able to close above the prior day high. If you're in some long swings and we see that, that's when I would add to them. But right now, just be patient, just be waiting. There's a couple of nice opportunities that are setting up. We just have to wait for them to manifest. Last thing I'll say here on Hood, we don't want this tail. I want it to be a nice key bar that closes near its high. Otherwise, I'm not going to get into the trade. So, if that happens, we'll take Hood long. If doesn't happen, then we will just wait, and we'll wait for the next opportunity to get in on these trades. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll take a look at these trades on Monday.